So you're going through the probate process here in Georgia and you have a house that's vacant. Let's talk about that. My name is Tanya Bird. I am part of the Bird Group, brokered by Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners here in the greater Atlanta area. And our team specializes in probate. So we help people all the time navigate the real estate aspects of the probate process here in Georgia. So let's get into talking about things that you can do because you have a vacant house. You want to make sure the thing is secured and nothing bad happens to it. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do to secure it, protect it the best way that you can. As you're going through the probate process in Georgia and the house is vacant, you want to make sure that you change the locks. And I'm not saying you have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and change out all the knobs or anything. You can hire a locksmith to come in and change the actual locks and get yourself a new key. After all, you don't know who has a key. Does the neighbor have a key? Does family members have a key? Do caregivers have a key? Or were there tenants in the property that have a key? You just don't want somebody with a key to get inside the house and maybe some of the personal items in the house grows legs and walks out the door. I actually had somebody tell me that because they did not change out the locks, they had family member go in, even though it wasn't stated anywhere in the will or anywhere on any kind of list, that they were supposed to get the refrigerator, and they came in and just took it. And I mean, after they took it, like, what were you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, change out those locks and keys. The other thing I would say you should do is take your cell phone, go through and record and document everything that's in the house. That way, if something does walk off, you have recording evidence that that was there on that date and now it's gone. That's another way to secure it. It's also a good way to categorize everything. There is a company out there called Fair Split that you can do this with, and they will categorize things, and it actually helps you kind of navigate through who gets what, particularly if there's not a list saying who gets what, and somebody might want this item or that item. You can add people into the group and they can say what they want or what they don't want. We have access to Fair Split, so it's Fair Split. So if you want to know more about that, reach out to us below and let us know, because we can get you a starter account. The other thing I would say you should do if you have a vacant house while going through probate is to keep the utilities on, but with modifications. Like, you don't want to be blasting the heat or the air, but you do want to keep them on. If you have the water on, which I suggest you keep it on, and you're worried about leaks, you can go turn off the water at the main water valve in the house. Usually it's nearby hot water heaters. If you're looking for it, turn it off there. That way you don't necessarily have to worry about leaks. You want to keep the heat on in the winter, maybe at 65 degrees or so, just so that pipes don't freeze. If you do have the water on and you haven't turned it off at the water main valve. And for the summer, I would say maybe 78-ish. You want to keep it so it's not musty in the house. And of course, you want to keep electricity on. You want to do all these things, particularly if you're at the stage of showing the house, because the people who are coming to see the house, they want to know that the electricity's on and the heating and cooling's working and that the water is connected. And you want them, if you go under contract, for the inspector and for the appraiser to both have access to all the utilities and make sure that all the major mechanicals are working properly. If you turn off that at the main water valve, as I suggest, make sure before those people come in that you turn it back on so they can do their inspections. Otherwise, they're going to say that they can't turn it on themselves due to liability issues, and that they're going to have to make an extra trip out there, and that could cost your buyer or maybe even you a little extra money because you didn't have that particular utility on at the time that it was required to be on. If you have a vacant house while you're going through the probate process in Georgia, make sure that the insurance is up to date. The insurance policy actually may go up because if they find out that it's vacant, they'll want to put a higher dollar amount on that, but it's better to have that higher dollar amount and be secure that, God forbid, something happened to the house, a flood, a fire, a big old storm come through, and then you don't have that insurance policy on the house to make the house right again. That's a big key factor. So go through and make sure that the insurance is up to date. If you have a mortgage, the insurance might be tied into that mortgage. So that's one way of finding who the insurance company is. If you don't have a mortgage, then you might go into their vehicle and see if they carried insurance with them in the vehicle, because most people bundle their car and their homeowner's insurance together. That might be another way. Otherwise, you can look for the mail for renewals when they come in, but make sure that it is covered by insurance. So if the worst were to happen, then you're covered. Speaking of mortgages, if you're going through the probate process in Georgia with a vacant home, make sure that the mortgage payments are happening. In Georgia, we're a non-judicial state when it comes to foreclosures, meaning they don't have to drag you in front of a judge to foreclose upon you. And even though your property is in probate, that does not stop the foreclosure process. I have seen people lose houses thinking that the probate process would stop the foreclosure process, and so they just quit paying the mortgage and it got foreclosed upon. So normally they give you warnings. Normally they'll give you a 30, 60, sometimes 90-day warning that they're getting ready to put you into foreclosure. And then once they put you in that foreclosure status, they start running ads in the newspaper for 4 weeks straight. If you can't get any of the mortgage payments caught up at that point, then that bank can foreclose upon the property, and all the items in it all of a sudden becomes the bank and is no longer yours. And you won't have access to the house, because I guarantee you they'll come in and change the locks. So make sure that that is up to date. And if you're having trouble, because I've had some people not have their letters of administration yet, and boy, oh boy, those banks will not talk to you. If you don't have the appropriate paperwork in place to talk with them about the mortgage, make sure you let your attorney know. They can petition the court to do a stop foreclosure, but that sort of thing takes time. Just be in communication with the attorney about how difficult it might be communicating to the bank, because really banks don't want to have to foreclose, but sometimes banks can be big old corporations who the right hand didn't know what the left hand's doing, and can make things more difficult on you as an administrator or an executor. So keep that in mind. If you're going through the probate process in Georgia and you have a vacant home, you may actually want to put some no trespassing signs up in the front of the house so it's visible, and then in the back of the house as well. In Georgia, if that is there and somebody breaks into the house, or a family member tries to go in and live in the house and you haven't given them permission to do so, that gives the law enforcement a little bit more teeth to go in there and boot them out. So the no trespassing sign has some legal ramifications to it. If you don't have it, then they don't have that ability to go do that necessarily. So that's one tip that we got from one of our attorneys that I like to pass on to you. If you have a vacant house and you're going through the probate in Georgia, be cautious about giving away things if you don't have the appropriate paperwork in place to give things away. And what I mean by that, there's this period of time from the time you petition till you take oath to actually get your letters of administration or your letters of testamentary. Depending on how fast or slow things are going in the probate process, or how difficult the estate or the people who are working with the estate are, that could be anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months to 6 months. I've seen a year before somebody was deemed okay to be an administrator, before they could start dealing with the personal property. Technically, and I'm not going to say that this always happens, but technically, you do not have permission to give away anything personal-wise to anyone until you have those letters of administration or testamentary in your hands. If you're going through the probate process in Georgia and have a vacant house, beware squatters. You may just want to keep an eye on the house, or have somebody, if you're not in the state, to swing by and keep an eye on the house. Just like we said, putting the trespassing signs in there, people can go in and squat. Now, the good news is that Georgia has your back and not the squatter's back. So we're passed some legislation, I think maybe like a year or so ago, where squatters don't have any rights. And if you catch somebody squatting, you can actually go out and hire law enforcement to come out and evict those people. So there's a little process to that. but it can be done, and the law is on the homeowners or the estate owner's side. Speaking of checking on the property, because you're going through the probate process and the house is vacant. So as I said before, you're going to want to visit the property periodically, or maybe you hire a property manager to swing by and manage the property, particularly if you're out of town. You want to make sure that there's not any kind of packages piling up or mail, take any kind of mail that's coming to the house inside the house. You're going to want to go through the mail to make sure that things like insurance bills or foreclosure notices or mortgage statements are coming through, or any other kind of like statements are coming through, so you can take care of those things. Look for signs of break-in or any kind of maintenance that might need to be done, and be sure that you hire somebody to maintain the yard. You don't want the yard to get overgrown, particularly if it's in an HOA. Also, overgrown yards make a house look abandoned and like whoop, 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 like, hey, we're out here, we're abandoned, and that could make people driving by go, what's going on there? So making sure that the yard is maintained is also key. Last but not least, if you're dealing with that vacant home while going through the probate process in Georgia, notify trusted neighbors. If there's trusted neighbors to your side, or there's a trusted neighbor across the street, like I have a trusted neighbor across my street from where I live, I want them keeping an eyeball on my house. I don't want something happening if I'm, out of town and I'm not unaware. They could see things going on and alert me. Same thing if you have a vacant property that, you want to make sure that they have good eyeballs. So exchange numbers so that they can call you. I've got a bonus tip. One of the other things that people have done, or I've seen them do, is take a lamp and put it on a timer. And particularly like around daylight savings time, like around that 6 o'clock period, they may draw the curtains, but have that lamp sitting right on the other side of the curtains, and that timer can pop on at 6, so it just looks like somebody's home. That's my bonus tip. Otherwise, if you need help navigating the probate process here in the state of Georgia, and you need help with some real estate, even if I can't serve you because you're in a different part of Georgia, I can connect you with a good real estate agent who understands probate, who understands the process, and won't let you get hung up in the process of selling the house because they don't understand probate. That can happen. Not all agents are the same or have gone out to learn stuff about probate and how to be more helpful to people who are going through it. So keep that in mind. Reach out to me. I can connect you with somebody. Otherwise, I can help you here in the greater Atlanta area. And be sure to watch some of our other probate videos. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.